Tonight, we're talking about some 100 dev stuff, giving a big thanks to Microsoft for coming back and continually supporting our community. It is absolutely wild that you all keep coming back. I really appreciate it. We're going to talk through what are Microsoft's cognitive services, which are these like set of tools that are going to enable you to build some really wonderful things. We're going to talk about how to get things set up. We're going to talk through like what's actually happening when we're using these tools. We're going to build 3 portfolio pieces, and then you're going to have some homework to build as well. So tonight, just about building, having some fun with it, seeing the services firsthand, and then we are going to have another follow-up class where we dig deeper, really kind of break down the pieces that are going on. And so let's have some fun. Let's get through some of this code and look at some really cool apps. If you're new around these parts, welcome. We've been running a 30-week software engineering boot camp, taking you from the basics all the way up to being able to build some really wonderful apps. We have been running a free software engineering boot camp. It's 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we typically do an office hours on Sunday. Completely free. You'll never pay a dime. You can come learn how to code. See all these amazing people here in chat. We have all of them here, plus up to 3,000 plus more on our Discord. So you can always do !Discord here in chat. If you're interested in learning to code, you have found your people. There's a special window open right now. There is a window where you can have a high-paid, happy career with no degree, and you can learn it for free, and you can do it all here. If you're looking to learn how to code, there's a few things I want you to know. The reason why most folks aren't successful is because of this trough of sorrow. It is a very difficult, long journey, but you can make it to the other side. I've taught thousands of people to learn how to code. I've helped hundreds of people get jobs as software engineers. And it comes down to these 3 things: managing your frustration, being consistent, and taking care of yourself. These things are very hard, but if you can figure them out, you will be successful. Adults, as we're trying to learn, it's not that we lose the ability to learn. It's just that we're in full control of our lives. And so we get frustrated when things don't go our way. And when you're learning to code, things will not go your way every single day. Right now, if you've been a part of the 100 Just Bootcamp, frustration should be at a very all-time high for you. And the reason why it should be at an all-time high for you is because we're getting into a point where your time isn't super structured. It's on you to put time into your 100 hours project. It's on you to put time into your premium apps. It's on you to put time into your hit list. And so as you're trying to do all of that, life's just going to keep hitting you. Figuring out how to manage that frustration, especially when you're in the wiggles of false hope, that's a really difficult process. The only thing that I can offer to you to help better manage that frustration and to make it through those wiggles is to be consistent. Even if we don't have class, even if we're going to do a Repo class, or even if we're going to do something that's not a direct, you're here to learn class, you need to be consistent with your time, keeping your time scheduled, making sure that you're doing daily practice because we know the benefits of spaced repetition, finding some sort of consistency. And then the last thing is take care of yourself. I took Thursday off. I needed it. I needed to take care of myself. And I did. It paid off wonderfully. Doing much, much better. Do the same thing for yourself. Make sure that you're watching your burnout. Make sure you're taking care of not only your mental well-being, but your physical well-being. Make sure you're getting your stretches in. Make sure you're taking your breaks. All of these things will help you get through those wiggles. Don't grind it out. Don't not sleep. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. This is the only advice. If you ever get one thing from me, it's I want you to know this. Don't let your dreams be dreams, and that there are 2 study habits that you might not have ever used that will really help you on your software engineering journey. 1, active recall. Whenever you learn something, say it out loud to yourself. Review the things that you just learned. The reason why this is important, you can watch Ali Abdal's video on it, is that there were 2 groups of individuals. There was one group of individuals that read a biology textbook chapter and then a week later had to take a test on it. And then there was a group that read it 4 times and then took a test on it a week later. And then there was a group that read it once, actively recalled, and then took that test a week later as well. The group that read chapter once, then out loud said the things that they learned, did better than the group that read it 4 times. Could you imagine doing a quarter of the work and getting better results? Active recall. So you can watch that link here by Ali Abdal, watch their video on active recall. The other thing is that as you're going through learning how to code, you're going to forget so much stuff. Here's an example of a forgetting curve. This was a study of one, but it's been replicated other places, where the idea is that within 20 minutes, you've probably forgotten about 40% of what you learned. By the end of the month, there's like an 80% chance. So what a lot of people do is they come out the gate hot. They're ready ready, they're interested, they want to learn how to code. But by the 2 or 3 months in, they're realizing that they're having to go back constantly to the things that they learned because they weren't resetting their forgetting curve. They weren't using some sort of tool to help them remember things. I recommend watching a wonderful video by Ali Abdaal on spaced repetition. It's the idea that you can bring up the things that you want to keep in your brain, and as you bring them up, it resets that curve to eventually where you don't have to bring it up anymore. You just know it. Employ active recall. When you're done learning something, actively say out loud the things that you just learned, and then use some sort of spaced repetition tool. A tool like Anki, which is completely free to use, which can help you retain the information that you work so hard to learn. With that being said, my job is to get folks jobs. My most recent cohort for my day job graduated. We had a 94% placement rate with an average starting salary of $92,000. This community, we are now up to 14 people with jobs. That's right, folks. Between now and last class, we added 2 more jobs. The stories from these 2 jobs are amazing. The perfect example of what somebody from this community can do and how they can change their lives. So once I get a chance to talk to them through it, and I get to figure out what I can and can't share, I'll share it again. But we added 2 more folks. They are super deserving of it, and I'm really excited to bring their stories to you. So we went from 12 to 14 in less than a week. Our students have brought in over $70,000 in paid clients. And that's just what they've told me. And I know y'all have gotten more clients. And from what you've told me, I think that number is actually close to 100K by now. The idea being here that you can come, join our community, learn the code for free, get an amazing job, and get some amazing clients. I love it. It's one of the best things that ever happened to my life. I appreciate y'all, and just wanted to say it's not too late. If you want to join and want to learn how to code, you can come join us. We are coming towards the end of our most recent cohort, but that doesn't mean you can't go through the videos on YouTube. That doesn't mean you can't join our Discord community. Doesn't mean that we can't put a plan together to get you through the material so you can continue to learn. It's not too late. You want to learn how to code, you just found the best place to learn how to code online. Another huge thank you to Microsoft. Microsoft continually comes back to the table to support our community, and I'm just excited to bring to you tonight the tools that I think will really change the game when it comes to your portfolio. Continually coming back, supporting us, giving us swag, giving us the things we needed to do to like build really cool projects. And so thank you. We appreciate you. Alrighty, folks, you didn't know it, but we got a problem. It's a big problem. It's a problem. The problem is I am not a lawyer, as you all are well aware. I'm not a tax professional, as you all are well aware. The other dirty little secret that I have not yet ever told you is that I am not a machine learning expert. I know. It gets worse. But look at these Google trends, folks. Look at these trends. From very little mentions, look how much machine learning is exploding right now. We got machine learning trending. We know it's hot right now, but I am not an expert. Yet tonight's class is about using machine learning tools to build some amazing portfolio pieces, but I'm not an expert. But I still want my apps to have the ability to see, hear, speak, search, understand, but I'm not a machine learning expert. There's this very famous XKCD, possibly one of my favorite XKCDs, which kind of gives you a little hint about this whole idea here. This is somebody asking a developer, all right, when a user takes a photo, the app should check whether they're in a national park. Super easy. I don't know if you know this, but when you take photos, often you're like recording your geolocation with that photo. It's how a lot of people get got, and we don't get got here, we go get. So easy. We can easily look up the geolocation in the XF data. And then the next thing I want you to do is to check if the photo is a bird. I want you to tell me where the photo is taken, super easy. But I also want you to tell me if there is a bird in that photo. And their response is, I'll need a research team and 5 years. So in computer science, it can be hard to explain the difference between the easy and the virtually impossible. This is an XKCD from not that long ago. They were just trying to find a bird inside of a photo. This was impossible not too long ago. So even though I'm not an expert, let me blow your mind for a second. Got some code here that I'm going to run. So I got some code running here. I'm going to go to my local host here, and I'm going to upload a photo. Choose a photo from my desktop. Got a lovely rack of hot dogs here. I'm going to upload them. Boom. It is letting me know that that photo is indeed a hot dog. There's a hot dog in that photo. Let's try a different one. Got a lovely photo of my face here, just so y'all can also see the glow up. It was in 2014. That's what, 5 years ago, right? 6 years ago. I can't count. 7 years ago. So I'm uploading a photo of my face. Not hot dog, folks. You heard it here first. I am not a hot dog. What? Crushed it. Woo! Let's go. Let's try another one. Just blowing your mind here. I got a picture of a race car here. Not hot dog. Let's go. Let's go. Not a hot dog. It looks close. It could it's like orange, cylindrical. We did it. Class done. Oh, let's do another one. Hot dog 2. Let's upload it. Hot dog. We did it. I hope that your mind is officially blown. We have an app that can determine whether or not our photo includes a hot dog. This is my peak, my magnum opus. This is it right here. It's amazing. But how? Leon, how is this possible? We just said XKCD, very smart person, 6-7 years ago, impossible to tell if there was something inside of the photo. They said it can be hard to explain the difference between easy and virtually impossible. Tonight, you're going to be able to build apps that can see and understand, that take advantage of all the latest and greatest machine learning tools without having to be a machine learning expert. I sunk hundreds of hours in trying to build really simple things with machine learning. I have a beast of a computer that tears through doing my models and classifying and doing all of this wild stuff. You don't need any of it. You can start to build some really amazing portfolio pieces like hot dog, not hot dog, with just an understanding of how to use an API. Of course, hot dog, not hot dog is funny. It's coming from the Silicon Valley show. They build an app, I think it was called Seafood. The whole thing was that it's supposed to be able to tell you what kind of food it was, but it only did one thing. It would tell you whether or not it was a hot dog. And that tech was pretty mind-blowing. But the problem was it could only detect hot dogs. It couldn't detect anything else. After tonight, you will be able to build an application that can detect pretty much any object. Doesn't have to be hot dog. It can be any object that you want. And so to me, that is huge. We're talking about like 7 years ago. It was next to impossible to identify stuff and objects. Then just a couple years ago, you had a whole episode of television where it was like mind blowing that they could target one thing inside of a photo. But now you can detect anything inside these photos. And the only bit of technology that you need to really know how to understand is how to use an API. So to me, this is huge. This is going to be a huge boon to your premium apps and to adding some extra bits to your portfolio. Any company that you apply to, you could build a simple app to detect the things that they care about. You're applying to a sneaker reselling company, Go, or some of the big ones, right? StockX. Well, guess what? You can build an app that determines whether or not a sneaker is inside of that image. Let's say you are applying to an agency that works with a lot of different brands. One of the apps we're going to build tonight is the ability to detect the brands inside of your photos. These very simple tools, if you're just a little bit creative, are going to enable you to build a lot of interesting applications, but applications that are going to be quick for you to spin up and to put into your portfolio as you are applying to different companies. Softa says, I'm applying to a mattress company. Hey, there's a lot of them right now, right? Like the purple one, the Casper one. So if you're applying to a mattress company, well, boom, now you can build an app that detects whether or not a mattress is inside the application. So all of these things that were kind of like memes, really pie in the sky ideas, are like done and dusted and handled by Azure Cognitive Services. You're just going to see so many things that you could think of that just a couple years ago seemed like fantasy land, you can start building today. As someone that's tried to do it the hard way, it really does just make you feel like you have superpowers. There's like this feeling in engineering where you figure out a new tool and it just feels like the world opens up a little bit. My dream growing up was to have a laptop, and I remember getting like on the internet for the first time. I remember going to the library every day to get on the internet. That magic, there's something about figuring out something in tech that opens up the world to you. Most recently, like I shared to y'all my 3D printer. I feel like when I got my 3D printer, it just opened up this whole new world. And so the Azure Cognitive Services literally make me feel that way. I just feel like it's so simple, so easy to use, but I could really do some really nifty stuff with it without really having to dig into the science and stuff behind machine learning. I'm building it up because I really do think it is that powerful and will really change the game when it comes to you being able to build great portfolio pieces. You are all at the point where you have some good portfolio pieces. You have like 2 or 3 really good full stack apps, but we want to get the tic-tac-toe off of there. We want to get the hangman off of there. We want to get the simple calculators off there. We want to get something in there that looks a little bit cooler. You can have a little bit more fun with. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. There are some topics that we're going to get into that we're going to save for next class, but there are 2 things I want to bring up: machine learning and artificial intelligence. And so this is a really good infographic from Wikimedia Commons where they kind of break down these 2 big terms. The first term here is machine learning, and I'm just going to read this because I think it's just apt. A technique by which a computer can learn from data without using a complex set of different rules. This approach is mainly based on training a model from data sets. The way that machine learning works, or the way we can teach a computer to recognize or to do, is by giving them a lot of data. So if I wanted them to determine a hot dog, I would give them thousands of photos that were labeled a hot dog, right? And so if you watch the Silicon Valley show, it ends with them telling the person that created the app, well, great, it detects a hot dog, but now you need to train it to detect every other kind of food. And their response is, there's no way that I could do that. I would need to collect thousands of images on every bit of food to train these models so that my code could figure out what type of object it is. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I do not want to be sitting around collecting thousands of photos on anything that I want to be able to detect. If I want to build an app that, as Softa said, detects mattresses, I don't want to be finding thousands of mattresses photos, training a model to detect those mattresses. And then if tomorrow I apply to a different company, I don't want to have to be training the model on something else because it just would take forever. As somebody that has done it, it takes forever. And so the beautiful thing is that this machine learning piece has already been handled by Microsoft. They've done all the training. They've given all these wonderful models. And you don't even have to understand anything I'm talking about other than to know it just works. Now, the other layer that they're going to put on top of here is artificial intelligence, mimicking the intelligence or behavioral patterns of humans or any living entity. We can bring these AI-like services. We can bring this AI to our code. We can make our apps seem like they are seeing or hearing or understanding, when really what they're doing is using this really complicated machine learning that's already been done for us so that our apps can take advantage of those abilities. And Different says, Azure Cognitive Service feels like cheating. It does. It feels like cheating, and it feels like the Wild Wild West. Like anything is possible. The beautiful thing when you're using the Azure Cognitive Services is that you get all of these pre-trained models that are built with kind of like all the latest research. You yourself do not need to understand the research, to stay on top of the research. There's no need to train the models or do any of that stuff. They've already handled it for you, which is mind-blowing, like takes a lot of effort out of it. You can use these services anywhere. So tonight we're just going to use APIs that like ping an API and we get a response back, but you can actually deploy this stuff into containers and put it anywhere. If you don't want to be like pinging some faraway service, you can use it on the edge in containers, right? You can use it close to home, like close to where your metal's running, which is pretty cool. So it's not just these pingable far away things. You can also use them close to home. You do not need to know any machine learning. You do not need to know anything about machine learning, probably other than what I just talked about to get started. The cool thing baked in is that they really kind of care about the ethical standard behind the things that we're doing. And so I think that's really important. AI has the ability to do some really wild things, and I like that Microsoft is staying on top of that aspect of it as well. As with our last Microsoft service, the thing I'm going to ask you is to think bigger, because once you get this template going, you're off to the races. Whatever you can dream up, you're going to be able to do. Before we kind of get started, tonight I want you to kind of just play along and let's explore together. To really build out the things that you're going to build out tonight, you're going to need 2 things. And so don't worry about scrambling right now. You're going to like create these accounts tonight, and we're going to come back for another class on Thursday. And that Thursday class will be where we'll be spending more time really digging into like the niche bits of the service. That'll be really cool. You're going to need need an Azure account. If you go through the Microsoft 365 developer program, you can actually get free access to an Azure account. You're going to need that to use the services that we are using. So on Thursday, we'll spend more time digging through the nitty gritty, and I'll show you how to set up everything on Thursday. But for now, just know you're gonna need this account. The other thing you could do is if you have a student email, you can also do that route as well. But either will get you free access to an Azure account. Through the 365 program, you don't even need a credit card. I know for some folks, they had some trouble creating an account before because they needed a credit card. If you do the 365 developer program, you don't even need a credit card, which is pretty cool. The other account we're going to need is Cloudinary. Cloudinary is media storage, and the really cool thing about it is that it is completely free to use. You don't need to put in a credit card as well. We're going to use this to host our images. All the apps that we're using tonight, we are submitting the image, and Microsoft is spitting back some information to us. To have a hosted image, instead of having a local image like that's just on our machine, we're going to be using Cloudinary. The example code that I will be showing you tonight is gonna already have all this stuff set up for you. The only thing you have to do is plug in your Cloudinary keys. If you have any trouble doing that between classes, on Thursday, we're gonna work through it all together. So I'm gonna walk through setting up the Azure keys, and I'm gonna walk through setting up the Cloudinary keys. I want tonight just to be the cool, like, let me show you what we can build. We're gonna build it together, but you can take the time to get those keys and build it out your own. In between, if you get stuck on Thursday, we'll walk through it step by step. So those are the two services you'll need to do everything that you see tonight, both for free. You don't need a credit card. Let's look at our brand app. I want to look at this brand app first. We saw the hot dog app, so I'm going to open up another one. Let me chill this server here, and I'm going to open up one other app that I have going, and this app is just detecting brands. And so this is another neat one, and what I'm going to do is do npm start here. Oh, this is the wrong one. I just probably didn't change it. All right. I'm going to go to my localhost 2121, and I'm going to choose a file here. And the file I'm going to choose is this photo that we saw earlier that we definitely know is not a hot dog. So let's go ahead and open up this race car photo. So let's upload this NASCAR car. And what you'll notice here, hold on, make this a little bit bigger. This is huge. How? If your mind is not blown, I don't know what else I can do to blow your mind. But look at this. It was able to determine that Caterpillar Inc. was in this photo. Look at that. It says like Caterpillar on the side over there, maybe, and cat, like the big logo on the hood. Not as high of a confidence, but it got it. What? How? And so it's all of these models that have been pre-trained by Microsoft. So you can just upload a photo and it figures it out. Blows my mind. Oh, let's look at another one. I grabbed a bunch of just like this one's a little bit, I say this one's a little bit easier, but it's like, what? This logo's pretty clear, right? The logo's nice and neat. It's not like slapped on the side of the car. So you did see the confidence go up like really high. But once again, magic. From this photo, knows to grab that and pulls it out. That blows my mind. Here's the example one that they give from the documentation, which I also just think is a balling one as well. And so Microsoft, 88% confidence from a t-shirt. From a t-shirt. Boom, there you go. Microsoft 0.88 from a blurry t-shirt image. Blurry t-shirt image. So what I want you to do is I want you to start letting your brain run amok. Think about all the things that you could do with this service that is able to pull off logos or brands from fuzzy t-shirt photos, the side of a NASCAR car. The idea here is that like whatever you want it to build for your premium apps or for your portfolio pieces, I'm about to show you it's real easy. We have all this code that I just showed here, but what I want to do, I want to show you this base repo. This base repo is the repo that you're going to start with to do everything that we're going to talk about for the rest of the night and for whatever else that you want to build. I've combined 3 different services that Microsoft offers into one repo so that you don't have to think about it. You can just plug your stuff in and start using all these really cool services. So let me go ahead. If you want to, you can open up that base repo if you want, but I'm going to open that myself. And the brand one I just showed you is basically using my base repo here and deleting stuff. If you can click delete, folks, you can build the apps that we're talking about right now. I'm just gonna run this real quick, npm start, and don't worry, we're gonna take all this apart. I just wanna show this to you real quick. All right, so we have the app running. Let me go catch it, and oh, sorry. Here's the app. This isn't gonna do anything. This should probably just break because what we wanna see is actually in the console. So I'm just gonna choose any random file here. Cool, it's doing its thing. What we're caring about here is inside of our tags, inside of our terminal here. What we're using here is the base computer vision toolset from Azure Cognitive Services. They have so much off-the-shelf things that you can just use. What I've done is I've put them all, well, all the main computer vision ones that they give examples for into one repo that also has the ability to upload images. So if you use this starter template, you can use all this stuff from the Azure Cognitive Services SDK, like their starter kit for everything, but also the Face API as well. I've combined them into this repository. So if you want to do anything with Cognitive Services, or you want to do anything with face detection, you can just use this one repo and change out the things that you want to change. Let me show you everything that this just did. So there is a photo in here. So this is all like boilerplate from Microsoft. So there was a photo in here that had a bunch of people in it. And based on those photos, it made guesses as to their sex and it made guesses to their age. What? As soon as I saw this, my mind blew and I just started uploading photos of my face. And I kept getting 36. So I'm a little offended, but it's pretty close, right? So it just blew my mind. The other cool thing is from just the boilerplate that they give us, it was able to detect whether or not there was a dog in the photo and then where the dog was in the photo. And then there's something even cooler where it's trying to guess not only is this thing a dog, but what freaking kind of dog it is. It's literally trying to guess, is it a companion dog? Is it a small Greek domestic dog? A golden retriever? A Labrador retriever? Like, it's trying hard to figure out what kind of dog it is. So going back to that earlier idea of if we had to do all of this training on our own, imagine it would take a team the size of Microsoft a couple years to do all. Like, this is mind-blowing stuff. Like, I don't know what, you know, like when you watch a YouTube video and they're like, I don't know what else I could do to make you like and subscribe. I don't know what else I could show you to blow your mind. This is next level stuff. And it's just an API call. I'm going to show you in just a second. It's just an API call. I was talking to Kat, part of Mega Month, and we were talking about kind of one of their projects, and it can tell what kind of image it is. It can tell like whether it's like clip art, high art, it can like figure it out. It can figure out the categories that are in the image. It can find the brands that are in the images. It can find the color schemes of the image. It can tell you what type of colors are in there. So if you're trying to build like a color palette or something like that, boom, you can pull it out. It can create thumbnails from the content. It can pull out landmarks. You could technically build an app where somebody could upload their vacation photos and you could figure out where they're at. Just from the photo, figure out where they're at. You can tell whether or not the stuff that's in the image is adult content. And I can do that with the code we're about to walk through. Pretty neat. The reason why I wanted to show that to you is all of this stuff just comes from the boilerplate that they've given us. If the boilerplate's this good, imagine if you put a couple hours into building something really neat. So I want to show you the boilerplate that they've given us and the boilerplate that I've created for you. Then we're going to delete and build our first application. The first application we're going to wind up building is the brand app, but we're going to go ahead and walk through this code first. So if you go to our GitHub on 100 devs, you're going to see all these on here. But the big one here is the template that we're starting off with is this Microsoft CV template. Down here in the README file, shout out to Memphis for being the person that actually set this up. This README has everything that you're going to need. The big thing that is missing from my code that I did not push to GitHub is a config folder that has an environment file in it, a .env file. You're going to need to create a config folder and then put a .env file into that folder. And what you're going to need to do is then plug in all of this information that's in the README. And so those keys are the keys you're gonna need to find. And like I said, we're gonna come back for the next class and I'll show you how to find all the keys and stuff like that in case you're having trouble finding them. There's a couple that you're going to need. So I'm just gonna read through them real quick and make this bigger. You're gonna need a port, so like the port where our server is gonna be running. You're gonna need the cloud name from Cloudinary, your API key from Cloudinary, and then your secret from Cloudinary. So you're gonna need those 3 keys to be able to, when we upload a photo, to host that photo on Cloudinary so that we get a URL that Microsoft can use. There are some things in Microsoft's starter code that can use local images, but it becomes odd, especially if you want to eventually host these. So I've kind of just ignored all of the local stuff and just said, we're going to host all of our images on Cloudinary. So you're going to need all of those keys. Then you're going to need 2 sets of information from Microsoft. Azure's Cognitive Service is massive. There are so many things that you can do. We're using 2 very specific pieces of their cognitive services in their like AI umbrella. We're using the computer vision resources and the face detection resource. They actually require 2 different sets of keys. And so you're gonna have to go into your Azure account, provision a new resource, and grab those keys. Come back next class if you're having trouble figuring these out, but we've actually done this before together when we were building out our full stack code with Microsoft Identity. So it should be very similar to the process that we've done before, but if you're having trouble, come back on Thursday. Make sure that config folder or that .env file goes inside your git ignore. You don't want these going up to the interwebs. As soon as that key hits GitHub, somebody's going to take it and start running a bunch of machine learning stuff with your keys. So please, 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 please make sure that you put all of your secrets in an env file and then you put that inside of your git ignore. So if you look at my git ignore, see, I have 2 things in here. I have my node modules folder, so I'm not pushing up this huge folder with all my modules, and my env, so I'm not sharing any of my secrets with y'all. That's the only thing that's like missing from all this code. Once you plug in those things, you're good. Everything will just work. If you've been here for a while and you've built full stack web applications with us, all of this is going to be quick review. If you're new and you only know a little bit of JavaScript, a little bit of Node, that's okay. You can just use this stuff. And you're only going to make changes in one spot. Everything I'm about to show you, you're only going to make changes in one spot. That's why this starter code is so powerful. You make changes in one spot, you can build whatever you want. Let's just break through everything real quick, just as a review for folks that may be new. We're setting up our application. You're going to see some structure here. I have my package.json, which is going to have all of my dependencies. Whenever you pull this code down from GitHub, the first thing you have to do that's in the README is npm install. Once you type in npm install inside your terminal, you're going to install all of these dependencies. And the first one is the ability to use the cognitive services from Azure. And they also like to use this async repository as well, just to help with some asynchronous stuff. The next thing you're going to need is Cloudinary so that we can actually host our images. .env, what that's going to do is enable us to use our environment variables so we're not pushing our secrets up to GitHub. Ejs, which is our templating language. If you're not familiar with templates, instead of just writing raw HTML, we're going to be able to plug stuff into our HTML. That's how I'm getting like the photos showing up and it's saying hot dog or not hot dog. I'm passing that through to my template. Express, which we're going to use to help set up our Node application and to help us with building out our routes. And then Molter, what it is used for is to upload files. That's all we're using Molter for. Molter is our package that is going to enable us to have a form that has a file upload. Molter will handle the file upload and then pass that file off the Cloudinary. So those are kind of the big pieces here. Part of the app, we have an app.js where all the magic is happening, and then a views folder for the actual pages that our users will see. We talked through all those pieces. Up here, we're just setting up our application. We're setting up our application to use Express, which is going to make our routes down below a little bit easier. We're setting up Multer to handle our file upload. This is just going to help us to upload our images. It's not something you have to understand. Just know that it's doing its job to help you upload an image from our form. Next are all of the packages that Microsoft asks us to use. There's 2 sets of these. What I have done is combined all the things they asked for to use the computer vision packages and everything that you need to use the facial detection things as well. All of this is in their docs, and it is in the base like SDK. You can find all the stuff that I'm sharing is directly in their doc. After class, I'm going to give you the link to the docs. If you click through that link, you will see everything that you need to see. It's all there. The thing with the docs though, is that it's not set up to be able to upload images. So if you want to be able to upload images, you're going to need kind of this code to do it. Figured I'd just make it way easier for you by already having all the image uploading code, but all this is straight from their docs. It's all the packages that we need to be able to take an image and hand it off to the Cognitive Services and their whole AI suite. Kind of all the packages we're going to need to do that. Setting up our environments file so that we can actually grab all the secrets out of that file. And then here is everything that you're going to need for Cloudinary, meaning that all the stuff that Cloudinary needs so that we can actually upload the image to Cloudinary and get the URL back. So we're going to have an image that's local on our machine. We're going to upload that to Cloudinary, and then Cloudinary is going to spit back out a URL for us that we can then hand off to Microsoft. And Microsoft will use that hosted URL to do all their fancy machine learning tasks on. The last bit here is once we have Cloudinary set up, I'm just setting up some other stuff that Microsoft need for us to have the keys for the computer vision stuff and for the facial detection stuff. I've combined them. Technically, if you're only doing facial detection, you can get rid of the computer vision stuff. And if you're only doing computer vision stuff, you can get rid of the facial detection. I just think it's easier to have one repo with all that in there instead of splitting it up. You can just ignore it if you're not using it. It doesn't really matter. All of this is just boilerplate from the docs with some extra stuff so that we can upload images. And then down here is just a very, very simple node server setup. We're telling our server to use Ejs as our templating language. That's going to make it easier for us to create pages that the users actually see. We're creating a public folder so we can host our things like our style sheets or client-side JavaScript if we want to later on. And then we're just setting up some very basic routes. I didn't do anything advanced or fancy here. This is supposed to be for your premium apps. Supposed to be quick and easy to get things set up. You can see our initial GET request, which is when somebody just goes to localhost 2121, as we always like to do. They'll see our first view, which is our index.ejs. And the only thing that's in that view is an H1 and the form where they can actually upload the image. Very quickly, whenever they come to our application, there will be a form that they're presented with. And then if they submit that form, this post request fires. And look at all the stuff I have in there. All of this is the boilerplate that came from Microsoft. So it's just all cram-packed in there. You can just delete it if you want, delete the things that you don't want, and it's all just there. The very last thing that we have is the listen. So I'm telling it to listen on our port 2121 or 8000 if you forgot to set your port for some reason. So let's get into this post request, and it looks like it's mind-boggling, but I promise you it's just a lot from the docs, and we're just going to delete the stuff we don't care about. So if we look inside of here, we have our post request that is set up to grab the file that was uploaded. That's all that's saying. All that is saying is, hey, we're going to be uploading a file and we're going to grab that file. And the beautiful thing is, since we're inside of our asynchronous function here, we can await the upload of that file to Cloudinary. And what Cloudinary is going to do is it's going to upload. And once we're done uploading that file to Cloudinary, the actual result of that upload will be stored in our result variable. So now anywhere that we use the result variable, it has all the stuff that Cloudinary has given us. And the really important thing that we care about is the actual image URL. So what we're going to notice is that whenever we upload that image to Cloudinary, we're going to get this really nice, neat way of grabbing the hosted photo, meaning that that photo gets uploaded to Cloudinary and they give us a unique URL for that photo that we can then use anywhere else in our program. Now, all of this here was the stuff that came straight from the docs. All the stuff is here. And what I did is I went through and I said, you know what? I want the brand I want the code that enables me to detect brands from their docs. And if you look, here it is. Boom. Here's how you do it. All this stuff doesn't matter if it makes sense or not, but this code right here is all you need to detect brands. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that and then delete everything else. And so if you just took this template, deleted everything except for this bit of code, you'd be in a really good spot. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to say, all right, analyze URL image. It looks good. I think I have everything copied that I need. I'm just going to go ahead and copy it. And then I'm just going to come in here and delete everything else. Come all the way to the top here. All right, boop, come all the way down. And there you go. I've deleted everything that's inside of this post. You can see everything that's inside this post. Everything was deleted. What I am left with is the uploading to Cloudinary. The only thing I'm left with is the res.render. So basically the response to this request is to call the results Ejs. All I'm going to do is like, once this request is done, I'm going to hand everything off to the results Ejs. And my results Ejs, I'm going to have to like customize if I want it to like work. I'm going to have to customize it. But for right now, it should be good. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish by posting in the stuff that we copied. That's it. All right, we're in here. I'm just going to save it real quick. What you're going to notice is they have this brand URL image here, and this is the default. This is their like, hey, use our example here. Let's chuck that out. We don't need their image because we have our own. So I'm just going to chuck this out because we already have our image right here. The image we got back from Cloudinary is in the brand URL image. We can see that it is using brand URL image. This is where we actually send the request to Microsoft, the computer vision, right? Pass that through. And then if we actually find a brand, this is where it like does all the console logging of the brands that it found. We don't need this console log, so I'm just gonna eat that. And the last thing I'm gonna do is we notice that it returns brands. I didn't do this. Actually, let me get rid of this find. I didn't do this. This is just what Microsoft chose. It said, all right, when it comes back from the computer vision, store it in this variable called brands. So when it comes back from Microsoft, it's just putting it in brands. And then they have a console log here to show you all the brands that were in that photo. That's great. I'm going to keep the console log there. It's going to show up in my terminal down here. But what I really want to do is pass those brands into my Ejs. That's all we're going to do. Down here, I am telling it to render my results Ejs, and I am passing in brands, like the thing I got back from Microsoft. And I'm also passing through my image. So anywhere I look inside of my Ejs and I see brands, it's the brands I got back from Microsoft. And anywhere I see image, it's the image that I got back from Cloudinary. So I'm just passing those into my Ejs. That's kind of it for right now. Let me go ahead and just save this. Let's see if it's working or not. All right, seems like the app is up. 2121. Let's choose a file. One we already know works. We know that this cat one miraculously works. And I'm gonna upload it real quick. All right, so we can see that the file got uploaded. It's showing up. Let's look in our console here. All right, in our terminal, we can see that it grabbed Caterpillar Inc., but we want that to show up in the DOM. Right now it's working just by using the code right from the boilerplate, but we haven't passed that, like it hasn't showed up in our DOM. I think we're passing it, right? We're passing brands, and brands is what we got back from Microsoft. The last thing we have to fix is our Ejs. So let's go to our results Ejs. We don't have the brand in here yet, so let's just go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and make sure that we are passing in our brands. I'm just gonna hard code one real quick. I'm just gonna hard code a H1. The Ejs syntax is pretty straightforward. All we have to do is do the left caret %, equals, and then brands is what we passed it through as. And I'm gonna do brands let's just do brand 0 dot name. I know that the brands have a name, like a name property. And the reason I know it has a name property is because if we like peek at the console log they gave us, there's brand.name and then brand.confidence. And so I know that that works. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to hard code this one like brand 0.name and see if this works real quick. Let me restart my server here. And let me come back. Here, refresh. Oop. Did not close it. Oh, yeah, I didn't close my brands here. Sorry about that. There we go. Let's save it. Restart the server. Boom. All right, let's upload that same file. Boom, there we go. Second try. So now you can see the caterpillar ink is showing up, and we can see the photo that we uploaded. I know it seems like it can be a little wild, but all I did was delete some stuff. It's all there for you. And so if you wanted to build different apps, the only thing that you have to do is delete other stuff. Like what? It's so wild. Let's finish this up. Let's make this a little bit neater. How does it know? Well, they've trained their machine learning algorithm for so long and for so many different things that we just get the benefit of it without having to do any work. We know that there's also this brand.confidence thing. Just because I'm looking at their console log here, I'm just going to take this string. I'm just going to take this right here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come to our Ejs. I'm just going to plug this into the H1. Now, Ejs doesn't like the template literals that we have here, so we do have to get rid of those. And technically, we could also put this in like a for loop, and it would show us all the brands. Like if there was multiple brands in here, it would actually show all of them. We know right now we're hard coding it. Let's not hard code it. If we just put the square bracket 0 here again, we could hard code it, but let's not hard code it. Let's put it inside of a for loop so that we can get all the brands that are here. So I'm just gonna put a UL here. And then inside this UL, I'm gonna put a for loop. And if you're starting like a piece of just JavaScript inside your Ejs, you need the special Ejs syntax here, these percent sign. When it's a variable, you need the equal sign, but when you're just putting like bits of JavaScript code, you don't need the equal sign. That's the only thing you have to know about Ejs. If it's just a piece of regular JavaScript, it goes inside these carets percent signs. And if it's like a variable that you're plugging in, like up here, you need the equal sign. So let's just go ahead and do let I equal 0. And we'll say, while I is less than brands.length, because remember, we're passing all the brands in here, and for each one we'll just go up by I. So all I'm doing here is like, let's say there's multiple brands in the photo. This is going to work for all of them. And then in here, I'm just going to take this, and we won't put in H1, we'll put an LI, but I'm just gonna do that here. So this will be an LI, and this will be an LI. And then we just have to plug in the Ejs for specific variables. This should work. And this will be brands. This will be brands I. Since we're looping through the brands, as we loop, I will keep going up. So we'll just hard code this as brands I. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And this should be 2 fixed. And even though this is a new variable, we need this other Ejs syntax again. And we'll jump to the end here to close it out. And that should work. I think this will work. We might run into some, I think we might see, does for each work in this case? Yes, for each would work. And also like using the new like for in syntax would work here too. Any JavaScript works inside of Ejs, which is pretty cool. I'm just doing something that you all probably have seen before. We could have done like brands in brands or something like that. All right, let's save this. I don't have node mod running. Maybe I should. Let's start the server. Let's see if we get any errors. All right, let's upload a photo. Let's upload the Ford one that we know works. Cool, we got it working. Ford with 91% 0.91 confidence. So right now, if you've followed along or if you just go to the GitHub for 100 devs, you now have the ability to pull brands out of a photo and build a very, very simple portfolio piece. Get out of here. I know, like, if you haven't seen this code, it can be a little confusing. Really, it's just this post, and then the only thing you're changing for every single thing we're about to do tonight, the only thing you're changing is what goes inside of here. That's it. Whether you want to detect a brand, you want to detect an object, you want to detect a face, it's just what's going on in here. That blows my mind. What I want to do is, we already have the ability to detect brands. We could delete all this and also detect objects. We're going to take a break. And when we come back from break, we're going to look at detecting objects. We're going to do the hot dog, not hot dog. And then the last thing I'm going to show you is the facial detection. And I'm going to show you how to know where you are at in a technical interview by taking a screenshot of your interview. Let me show you that real quick. I haven't showed you this one yet. So just so you can be in some anticipation for when we come back. I have this lovely set of code called How is the Interview Going? Let me pull this up over here. You ready to have your socks knocked off yet again? Prepare yourself for your mind to be blown one more time before we take a break. I'm going to go ahead and do my npm start. Great. I'm going to go back to my 21, and I'm going to upload a photo. Here's how Leon's doing right now. There we go. So that's one of the photos I keep using because I think it's hilarious. Let's upload it. So you got the photo, and then happiness 1. Happiness 1. But it could also tell me if there was anger, contempt, disgust, fear, if they were neutral, sadness, or surprise. So if you're in the middle of your technical interview and you're trying to figure out how it's going, this is how you do it, folks. Right here. All right, I can do this. I'm gonna look real angry though. You ready? All right, I did it. So I got my mean photo. Let's go ahead and upload my mean photo. I don't know if this will work because it's really funny. All right, there we go. This photo. Let's see what we get. Hold on, let's see what we got. We got anger. 0.6. They knew. They knew I was faking the anger. Contempt, a smidge of contempt. Not a lot, a smidge. Definitely a little bit of disgust. But they do. There's no fear, no happiness, no sadness, no surprise. A little bit of anger and a smidge of contempt. Throw in a sprinkle of disgust. So while you're in your technical interview, if you want to know how it's going, you just take a screenshot of their face and use the app that we're going to build when we come back. What you're going to notice is that it's almost exactly the same type of thing. With the brands, we saw that it was awaiting something from the computer vision client that had to do with brands. This is just the code for object. And it's going to be able to detect any object, really, like a lot of different kinds of objects. The beautiful thing is if you are using this to detect objects, you can make whatever type of thing you want. I chose to do hot dog, not hot dog, but you could have done building, not building. It could be anything, which is hilarious if you watch the Silicon Valley clip, because they thought this was going to take them forever to build, and we can build it in like 2 seconds if you're using this starter code. So we already have the Cloudinary upload. That looks good. I copied in the object detection from the documentation. I'm going to change a few things in here. First, you can see that they are calling it object URL. And so for us, we're going to have to change it from object URL. We're going to change our brand URL here to object URL. So I was going to change this from brand URL because that's what the other thing was asking for. So I'm just going to call this object URL. And that's all I'm doing. I'm just saying, hey, whatever URL I get back from Cloudinary, like my image, whatever image I get back is just going to be called object URL. So I'm just changing it to match their boilerplate here. So that's all I did. I just took from the original docs that I shared with you. I just replaced our brand recognition code with object recognition code. And you're just going to notice that they call it object URL. So we have to name our URL object URL. Everything else kind of stays the same. Inside this code that they give you, they have this loop of objects through objects. So this is just their loop for console logging every object. They already have, it's already there. It's just a loop for counting every object. What I did is I said inside that loop, all I did was say, hey, if the object you get is equal to a hot dog, make our hot dog count go up by 1, right? So if this loop is going to loop through every object, all I'm going to do is see if any of those objects are a hot dog. And if any of those objects are a hot dog, I'm going to update my hot dog count by 1. And so that means I need a hot dog count. So I'm just going to go up here. I'm going to set a nice variable here called hot dog count, and I'm going to start it at 0. I'm going to start my hot dog count at 0. I'm just using the standard object detection boilerplate from the code I already gave you. And the only thing I've changed inside here is I said, all right, hey, as you're looping through those objects, if any of them are a hot dog, make my hot dog count go up by 1. And then down here, like at the bottom, instead of passing in brands, because we're not doing brand detection anymore, I'm going to pass in count. I'm going to say count is equal to hot dog count. Our image is no longer brand URL image. It is now object URL. So I'm going to grab object URL, come back down here, object URL. Boom. All right, cool. The neat thing now is I'm going to pass to my Ejs my hot dog count And I'm going to pass to my Ejs the image that we uploaded to Cloudinary. I'm passing through my hot dog count. So if it found any hot dogs in the image I uploaded, it updated the count by 1. I'm just going to have like an if statement. I can even do like a ternary, right? I'm just going to have an if statement. And I was going to say, if the hot dog count is greater than 0, it's a hot dog. And if it's not greater than 0, not a hot dog. Oh boy. That's being passed through. The hot dog count's being passed through. Our image is being passed through. Let's save this and let's go to our results Ejs. And so inside the results Ejs, we are going to change it from this this for loop. I'm just going to get rid of this for loop here. And I'm going to put a conditional in here. And I'm just going to have a conditional. And I'm going to say if count is greater than 0, we'll go ahead inside of here and say h1 hot dog. Else we'll do h1 not hot dog. Not hot dog. Now the other thing too is I want to, I guess we can just have the image up there. I think that's fine. Oh, I want an alt tag though. So instead of having the image up here, I'm going to put the image inside of the conditional. And the reason why I'm going to put the image inside of the conditional is because I can make this alt actually a hot dog. This is also accessible now. Oh, this is good. Not hot dog. There you go. That looks good because we're pulling the image that we passed into the Ejs. We're saying if the hot dog count is greater than 0, it's a hot dog. Else, it's not a hot dog. And we need our Ejs syntax. So each of these like JavaScript lines need to be wrapped in this syntax here. Same thing for the one down here. If you're new and you have no idea what we're doing with Ejs, we have a whole class on building our views with our backend apps that you can definitely take a peek at. It's really just this idea that your individual pieces of code need to be wrapped in this caret parenthesis, and then any variable is caret parenthesis equals, and then you close it. So this looks good. Let's run it and see if our hot dog object detection works. Oh, I already have a server running somewhere else. The original one is still running. This is how the interview was going. One was running, sorry. So I got that in use, which means that the port was already in there. So we started our server. Let's upload a hot dog. It's actually 4 hot dogs. Let's upload it. Hot dog. Yes. Let's look in the terminal here. The really cool thing is, look at this. Not only did it find 1 hot dog, it found all 4 hot dogs. And it tells you exactly where each hot dog is. What? Let's just make sure it works. Let's pass in not a hot dog. I don't know. This new face of mine was pretty hot dog-y. That's kind of close. It's a little bit more cylindrical. Image is too large. Maybe Cloudinary is having problems with it. Let's see. Hold on. Let me do a different one. Oop, gotta start my server. Let's do this one. Whew. I can tell my mom I'm not a hot dog. Relief. Not a hot dog. Not a hot dog. So this works, folks. Hot dog, not hot dog. Let's go. Let's actually see what this returned object does. They clowning me. Look at this. It said, I am glasses before I am a person. Let that sink in. I am more glasses than I am person. They're definitely confident that I am glasses, but only 0.56 that I am a person. Let's try a different object. That's definitely, I want to see what happens if we do the car. That's like a really weird image. I don't know if it'll be able to classify it or not. Yeah, no, I had trouble with that one. Let's actually make this a glasses detector. So let's go ahead and... So it was glasses that came up. Let's do glasses. So copy. So real quick, we can change this, right? We went from hot dog detector to glasses, and we can just call this... I mean, we can keep the same variable if we wanted to, but let's just make it glasses count. So now I have glasses count. Cool. Where is our... Here we go. Let's just change this real quick from hot dog count to glasses count. Cool. Let's change this from hot dog count, glasses count. Cool. And then inside of our results, we'll say has glasses, cool person. No, no glasses. So we have no glasses, has glasses, no glasses. And we can change this to wearing glasses. no glasses. So we can determine if it has glasses or no glasses based on the count that's being passed in. Let's go ahead and restart our server and try it again. Let's choose the glasses photo. Let's upload it. Has glasses, nice. Let's do hot dog photo number 2. No glasses. First try. You can build whatever you want. Is it like, come on. Think about your premium apps that you could build right now. You're applying to a mattress company. Boom. You're applying to Warby Parker. You can now determine whether or not the photos that are being submitted to Warby Parker have glasses or not. Think about your premium app. Imagine you're in an interview with Warby Parker and live, you're able to pull up an app, take a screenshot of your interviewer and determine whether or not they're wearing glasses live. What? Tonight, I want you all to dream. That's the homework tonight. Dream up the amazing things you're about to add to your portfolio because this just works. What? There are so many scenarios where this just is a flex and a half. Let's do one more. We're going to try and figure out how the interview is going code. And so once again, I'm just going to come into my app.js. I am going to remove the stuff that we pulled in from the docs. But the neat thing here is that I have combined, not only have I combined the computer vision stuff in here, but Microsoft also has a separate API for their facial detection. If you're using my starter code, it's all here. So you don't have to set up a whole different repository. You don't have to set up a whole different set of code. You can use either major library and it'll just work. The brand recognition and the object detection were all of the original cognitive services that fell underneath computer vision, but they have another cognitive service that falls under face detection. That's what we're going to use now. The beautiful thing is they just have this lovely Axios call that we're going to use. I'm just going to paste it in. And so this is coming straight from their facial recognition docs. And like I said, if you go to Discord after class, I'm going to have not only of my repositories, but all of the documentation. So you can see all the things that you have at your disposal. When I say we're just scratching the surface, I really do mean like we're just at the very tippy top of the surface of things that you could be doing. Once again, this is coming from their facial recognition docs. The big thing that we just have here is that we're going to be able to use our uploaded image to be able to use it. They're calling the URL face endpoint. So we're just going to change this to face endpoint. There we go. So now we have our, oh, sorry, not face endpoint. They're using, sorry, it's called image URLs down here. There we go. Image URL. So we're going to change ours to image URL. Once again, this is just, I looked at the documentation and in the documentation, I saw that they had this lovely Axios call that I can make to the facial recognition API that they have. And the cool thing is, look at all this stuff that it's going to return. This is all the stuff that I can get just from a picture of my face. We know that we're grabbing our URL from Cloudinary, the one that we upload. Face endpoint is like the endpoint that when you set up your facial recognition, you can get your key. They also need you to set up an endpoint. Be very careful. I kept running into error after error because I thought I set up my endpoint to be like West Coast, but it was East Coast. And I lost a lot of time on that. So just be careful. The location of the endpoint is really important. When you pick the server closest to you, make sure that it's the right one. And that's up top when you set up your account. So we have the image URL that we're passing in. And you'll notice if this works, instead of having my render out here where I had it for the other one, I'm just going to put inside of the actual promise return here, I'm going to do my render. So instead of typing out, I have it here for us so we can just look. I pasted in the thing from the documentation and I just added my res.render. So when I get a successful response back from the facial recognition API, I will pass that information to my result, Ejs, like we've been using. But there are two things that I'm passing through. I'm passing once again the image just so we have the image showing up. But there's something really neat that we get back. We can see that all the data we get back is put into response. And then I'm just going to grab the first bit of data from that response. I'm going to upload an image. We don't really care about what goes to the Ejs yet. I just want to show you all the stuff that we're getting back from this actually working. Let me me go ahead and save this. Once again, I'll just plug something in. This code is ready to rock and roll. You just plug in the bits that you want from the documentation and you can do amazing stuff. Let me go ahead and clear this out. Let me run my server again and let's go back and refresh. Let's go ahead and choose a file. I'm going to choose my face here, upload it. That works because we know we didn't change our Ejs or anything like that, but let's make sure that it worked here in the terminal. All right, look at this, folks. Look at this. It was able to get where my face was in the image. It was able to determine that I was smiling. It could figure out the pitch, roll, and yaw of my face, like how my face was like tilted or not tilted. It was able to guess my sex. It was able to guess close to my age, not exactly my age, but close. It was really confident that I had a mustache, but not so confident that I had a beard. That's interesting. Definitely knew I had a mustache. Glasses, no glasses. Interesting. So I was able to determine whether or not I had glasses. And then the emotion. This is the bit that we care about. So if we're trying to figure out how our interviews are going, we can, based on the emotion, figure out how it's going. There's some like other stuff in here. It can determine whether... I got, folks. Figured it out. Eye makeup, true. They got me. I was wearing eye makeup that day. Hey, sorry. No, sorry, not sorry. It takes a lot to get up, come on camera, and feel good about yourself. So, not bald, and I guess I'm not invisible? Oh, hair not invisible. I was like, oh no, Microsoft just, they're invisible people, and Microsoft knows whether or not they're invisible. We just figured out the matrix, though. It's whether or not your hair is visible or not. And then there's an array of hair color. That's cool. Ooh, so hair color being an array? Maybe if people have like multiple hair colors? That's wild. That's really neat. So all that stuff comes when you submit a photo of a face. The only thing we really care about if we're trying to figure out how our interview is going is this emotion stuff. And so that's what I'm passing through. So it is response.data, face attributes, emotion. That's what I want to pass to my Ejs. Face attributes, emotion. That's what I have here. Like everything's inside of response. I'm grabbing the first response because I believe if you have multiple faces, like if you have multiple faces in the photo, it'll grab each one. And so this is going to be just the first face. So this won't grab all of them. It's just going to grab the first one. And so since it's just for your interviewer, we're just going to grab the first one and call it a day. So we're going to grab the first response. We're going to look at the face attributes and the emotion, and we're going to pass that through as data. Inside of our Ejs, we're going to have access to data, which is all the emotion stuff. We're going to have access to the image, which is the image that we're hosting on Cloudinary. Let's go to our Ejs, and we're just going to fix what we have in here. I am going to go ahead and get rid of this count stuff here. We don't need count anymore. We're not using that. Actually, that reminds me, since we're not using count, we can get rid of up here our glasses count. We don't need that anymore. I just remembered that's up there. Let's go ahead and we're in here. And so let's just create a UL that's going to be a place for all of that emotion data. Actually, you know what? I still want the image. I was going to copy this real quick because I do want the image. All right, let's delete that. I'm going to put my image in here. I was going to say like, this is a face. Viewers face. There we go. Our interviewer's face. Down here, we're just gonna have like a UL that we're gonna put all of our emotional data in. So we're gonna have an LI, and then in that LI, we're gonna have anger. And then inside of anger, we're gonna have all the stuff related to our anger data. So let's go ahead and do equals data.anger. Remember, we're passing data into this Ejs file, and then we gotta close it. I think that'll be good. Let's look down here. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 different ones. So let's just copy and paste this 7 more times. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is going to be contempt. I love that it gives contempt. And then this one's going to be disgust. I hope your interviews don't go this way, folks. This is going to be fear. I'm going to put fear here as well. Beautiful. Happiness. Cool. Data.happiness. Beautiful. Neutral. It's where a lot of you might exist during your interviews. You know what? Nah, you're all going to be full of happiness and a little bit of contempt at your amazing skills. That's how all your interviews are going to go. You didn't go to college for 4 years to learn this stuff, and you're busting out these coding interviews like this. A little bit of contempt's going to show up. And last one here, surprise. Cool. Let's save this. Let's see if this works now to figure out how we're doing during our interviews. Let's go here. Let's refresh. Let's upload a photo. This is our happy photo. All right, there we go. We got some happiness going on here. Happiness of 1. Let me go ahead and do my other photo. Hilarious. There we go. So you can see I got some anger going here, a little bit of contempt, and a whole bunch of disgust. So hopefully none of your interviews go this way with the anger, contempt, and disgust. They're all full of happiness, but now you can do it. All right, folks. Like I said, and hopefully you've seen tonight, I've given you a starting repo. With this starting repo and just a few free API keys, you can build some amazing projects for your portfolio. We got 3 of them right here. And for your premium apps. I am hoping that you take this code and you run with it and you build some amazing things that will help you stand out when you go through the interview process. And then we're coming back Thursday to see another app in more detail. If you're having trouble with the keys, we'll walk through the keys. I'm gonna have one more surprise app for you. Your homework for tonight though is to try and get all of this running. Try and log in, get your keys, try and get the app going, and to dream big and make something fun happen. I really want you to be able to use this code, cut and paste really quickly to build premium apps, cut and paste really quickly to build some really fun future stuff, right? Like I said, this is the very tip of the iceberg, and I'm going to share the docs and things like that so you can see even more of the powerful stuff this app can do. We're going to come back for day 2, where we're going to go a little bit deeper into all this stuff, talk a little bit more about some of the more advanced features that we can do, and we're going to do even more raffles then. So we're going to end with 2 laptop raffles. I think we're at the second one. Let me double check.